Daybreak on the shores of Loch Lomond, with views like this and eagles circling overhead, you know it's going to be a good one. With Loch on our left and a hydroelectric power station just here, you know you're in an area of hills and abundant water, and you can see from the sky where that water's coming from. But so far today, it's been a lovely day. The road's absolutely clear, and we're on our way to Oban, which is where we're staying for the next night. And I know I'm nearly there when I pass the Connell Bridge. It's one of those beautiful old bridges that looks like it's made out of Meccano, and all power to the engineers who created that, because its form and function just brings forward beauty. Anyway, from here we're just getting to the estuary, and you'll see in the distance some of the islands of the Hebrides, the inner Hebrides here, and in the estuary it's a good place to park your nice little yacht so you can get out and about on the water when it's safe to do so, of course, because the waters around here can be a little interesting. And moving towards Oban, where I'm staying in the youth hostel overnight. And I love this little bit of the journey. Just coming down the hill into the town of Oban. And you just catch glimpses of the town and the bay. And it's just a seaside attraction. And I've always loved those. And there's something sort of a little cheap and gaudy about them. But that's good, because that's what you want. Fish and chips, or alternatively in this place, an absolutely superb restaurant on the coast with probably some of the best seafood in the world. Anyway, a quick little trip through the town, if only because it is actually one of the best places around here to stock up with whatever you've got a desire for. There's loads of bed and breakfast and hotels and Airbnb, a couple of supermarkets. Lots and lots of places where you can eat which are not fish and chips, because it is an international spot. And if you need to buy anything for outdoor activities, there'll be a shop here that can supply you with stuff. Not surprisingly, one of their best sellers are waterproofs. This is Scotland, and you're going to get wet at some point if you're staying more than a day or so. It has a sort of quaint air to it. As you pass along here, you can see the main harbour bay, and in the distance you may just make out the ferry terminal. This is a place for getting the ferries to those lovely islands, so you just get a little hint of here. Today it's unusually busy. I've been along here when there's been hardly a car. It happens to be a rather unfortunate day. It's literally shortly after Queen Elizabeth has died, and it's just before her funeral, a couple of days before her funeral, so all the flags are out at half-mast. I love the fact that I'm just sitting here staring at a place called the Tartan Loom, which sells Harris tweed. Not cheap, but lovely. And not quite so old-fashioned as it once was, but still the same quality. This is one of those towns which is full of lovely old buildings. As you can see, the new ones, although they do their best, they don't always match it for quality of materials and looks. But on the other hand, they provide a service. Passing again along the front, we're just coming to that harbour again. You're getting the hint of those islands. You can just see almost in the centre a ferry in the terminal. And a promenade along the front, which leads you to a fish dock, and from there you can find a couple of pubs and a fish and chip shop and all the things that you want. I don't think there's any place selling Kiss Me Quick hats though, so we're in a fairly posh town really. You pass the Columba Hotel, named after Saint Columba, nothing to do with Columbus. And on this part of the harbour, you've got a view out over the yachts towards the islands, and you can just make out the church on the jetty, which is near where I'm going to be staying tonight. Lined with, as you can see, loads of flats, and hotels, many of which will be Airbnb. Now we came in at this roundabout, and instead of taking the road back out, we're heading along the coast road here. One of the interesting things is you get your choice of churches and hotels, and it would be no surprise to note that the church is actually reasonably well attended in Scotland. They tend to be a bit more religious than those of us from south of the border. The blue sign, which is just coming up, is for the youth hostel where I'll be staying. And for 20 quid a night, I'm getting this view, as well as a bed and a really comfortable warm building to be in, because it's a bit chilly today and I've got the heated vest on. I just love views like this. You can just make out a little square building in front of us, which is a castle. This area is full of little defensive places, castles and the like. Basically, the Scots were not exactly a peaceful set of tribes, I think you can best describe it, and so it was necessary to have defensive places all along the coast, because most of the transport in this area was traditionally along the coast. There are not too many roads going through the centre which are old, and indeed the Romans didn't manage to get up here to build any, which is quite surprising. Now, along the coast road, I'm always a bit surprised when I see a development like this, which just seems somehow out of place. But anyway, it's not the development we've come to have a little look at. It's the car park. And we want to see the car park because it has got one of the most beautiful little beaches that you can find around this area. The tide's quite well in, and yet there's still loads of beach to go play on with your footballs or sand castles and the like. And the brave ones can actually stick a toe in the water and hope that it doesn't freeze up. Absolutely glorious. Nice little spot. Anyway, back to the hostel. I've got to dump off some stuff, and then I'll go for a little bit of a ride before I actually settle in for the evening. That's the old part of the hostel, but as we drive up, you'll see a white building in front, which is a newish part, and it's all been modernised, and the rooms are absolutely lovely. You've got a combination of private rooms and dormitories. Now, out along the back roads behind Oban, instead of looking out at the sea, we're looking at all those hills and mountains, which basically are why I'm here. I love riding up and around those. There's something rather special. Time to stop, take a photograph or two, and just think about what the next stage of this adventure is going to offer before heading back to the coast and parking up the bicycle. It's been a nice day. I'm a bit tired now, and quite frankly I fancy a beer. So switch off the camera and then just spend, after I've had a beer, a moment or two on the other side of the road, just overlooking the bay. Photography is a bit shaky here because I'm hand holding an old camera with a fully extended lens. And yes, you get the old sailing ships coming in, the training school ones. Lucky people who own houses just looking out over the water towards the islands. The sun's getting rather low. You're getting a lovely silhouette effect on the islands. There's something quite magical. If you haven't been to this area, get a boat out there. See you in the next one. This is Blue. I'm his travelling companion. He lets me ride his motorbike, but he doesn't let me eat his chocolate. He's very keen on the outdoors. He likes communing with nature. Perhaps trying new things is not his way of going about. His friend Monk loves surfing. But Blue's not so sure, 'cause he's got a wet bum. But he does like apple surf very much. He likes food, lots of it. Please subscribe and like for Blue's sake.